I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and you know 4G LTE devices have kind of been around that $300 price point for some time now. Verizon and AT&T absolutely love that $300 price tag, but they've lowered the prices on some other devices as well that are still high-end, but are coming in at $100 or $200 and still packing some great features and LTE connectivity. I've got two of those in my hands right now. The HTC Vivid, which is available now from AT&T for $99.99, and it's packing some pretty killer specs. A 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, a 4.5-inch display, an 8-megapixel camera, Android 2.3, and more. Then I have the LG Spectrum, which is available now from Verizon, 4G LTE as well, but it's got a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor, a really nice 4.5-inch True HD display, an 8-megapixel camera, and Android 2.3 as well. Which one's the best? Well, we're going to find out in the dogfight, but first, some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like the Vivid and like the Spectrum for use in our one-paw bandit game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you're not going to deal with rebates, waiting 8 to 10 weeks for paperwork, getting those stupid debit cards that we all hate. I know I hate those. And at Best Buy Mobile, you're not going to deal with that. You're going to walk out with the Vivid or the Spectrum or whichever phone, paying that after rebate price, so you're not dealing with paperwork at Best Buy Mobile. Thanks to them for hooking us up with phones like this for use in our one-paw bandit game that you can win on PhoneDog.com. Let's take a look. HTC Vivid, LG Spectrum, which one's the awesome must-have budget 4G LTE device that's still pretty cool? Is it a Vivid Spectrum out there? See what I did there? We're going to find out starting right now. So Android phones are aplenty, but you got some options if you don't want to roll out $300 on Verizon or AT&T for, let's say, the Galaxy Note or the Galaxy Nexus or some of these high-end devices. You can still get a well-equipped device for a nice price, and two of those are right here. The HTC Vivid, this was announced last year in New York City at a special event that was hosted by AT&T, and it's available now and has been available for some time. It started out at $249.99. They dropped it to $199. Well, now at AT&T retail stores and online at att.com/wireless, you can pick up this device for $100. So $100 out of the gate, and you're getting a pretty nice package as well. Of course, it supports 4G LTE connectivity. It's got a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S3 processor, a 4.5-inch QHD display that's Super LCD, 540 by 960 pixels, and then back here you've got an 8-megapixel camera with dual LED flash, and then a front-facing shooter as well. It's packing Android 2.3 with HTC Sense version 3.0, and then over here you have the LG Spectrum. This thing's available from Verizon for $199.99, and it's packing a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon processor, 8-megapixel camera with 1080p HD video recording on the back. You've got a 4.5-inch IPS True HD display that has 720 pixels. So 720p display, and then a front-facing camera, Android 2.3 on this sucker as well with LG's custom user interface. So some differences, they're both running Android 2.3, so at their core, if you were running stock Android, obviously these would look identical, but because you got Sense 3.0 over here and LG's custom user interface over on the Spectrum, they do look a little bit different, but you know, a lot of similarities across the board as well. We'll start with the home screen. 7 home screens on both of these devices, and you can see the HTC one rotates around in a carousel style effect like we've seen from other devices from HTC over the past year and a half or so. You know, HTC Evo 3D, Sensation 4G, they all kind of look similar in terms of anything that's running Sense 3.0 has that carousel type effect, but 7 home screens, and I can easily access those. And same setting over here. I've got 7 home screens on LG's custom user interface, and then I've got kind of a different dock option down here at the bottom. So just comparing apples to apples, let's go back and take a look. You can see down here, menu, phone, and then a personalization button. Down here you have more of a dock-like format, very similar to iOS with some icons down at the bottom, similar to TouchWiz 4.0 as well, with phone contacts, messaging, and applications, and once you click on that, you can access your applications. But before we go too far into that, I want to show you the bodies as well. You've got a volume rocker over here on the right side, a micro USB charging port down here on the bottom left, your 3.5mm headphone jack, your power button up top, and of course your camera on the back. Now these are distinctly, and you can't really see this in the camera as well as I'd like you to, but these are distinctly different designs that are going to appeal to two different people on design alone. Size-wise, pretty similar. You've got your nothing over on this side. You've got your volume rocker on the left side, nothing on the bottom, and then up top you have your 3.5mm headphone jack, your micro USB charging port that's covered by a flap, and your power button as well, so in your lock button. So, you know, a little bit of a different design and different placement in terms of the ports, but where you're really going to see this, and also before I get into that, capacitive buttons down at the bottom, menu, home, back, and search, and then of course over here you have menu and search doubles up as one button, home button, which is not a physical button despite how it looks, and then your back button as well. But where they're really going to differ, the LG Spectrum is a very plasticky device. You can feel this device, you know, and that may work out well for you. If you like Samsung's products, this may be a good device for you because there's not a whole lot of metal. There's actually no metal on this device. It's very plasticky feeling. Now on the upside, that makes it a lightweight device. So if you're carrying it in your pocket or carrying it in a purse, you don't want too much added bulk, this may be a device for you. Well, HTC is plasticky all around, but the battery cover is metal as well. And there's just a nice heft to this device that you don't feel with the Spectrum. So if you're someone who wants, you know, a high-end quality feeling device, the Vivid's going to be your phone. If you're looking for something that's more lightweight, you can stick in your purse, your pocket, whatever, briefcase, whatever the case may be, easily, the Spectrum's going to be your device. So take a look at both in store just to see which design you prefer. But they both, you know, notification bars show you the differences here between Sense 3.0 and LG's user interface. Over here you get your recently run applications. And you can see I've got phone, clock, weather, people, settings, and more. And then I can go over to quick settings and get easy access to Wi-Fi, hotspot, mobile network, Bluetooth, GPS, all my settings. And I can access HTC's memory manager here and kill off tasks as I don't need those anymore. Now over here, stuff at the top as well, you've got some buttons, you got your sound, you got your portrait to landscape orientation button, Bluetooth, GPS, and airplane mode. And then you have a big Wi-Fi off button here, which when I click that, it'll take me into the various Wi-Fi networks that are available. So a little bit of a different setup. You still get the shortcuts up here, you still get the Wi-Fi access, but I like the way HTC's laid this out with Sense 3.0 where you can easily flip back and forth between the two. Another thing that's important to point out between these two devices, customization choices. It is very different. Like I said, 7 home screens on both. Let's go to an empty page and take a look. When I press and hold both, you're going to see dramatically different customization screens. Well, Sense 3.0 offers a tremendous level of personalization. So I can come in here and change the scene, the skin, the wallpaper, the lock screen, and of course widgets as well. And for example, I have the weather lock screen on right now where I can come back out and you can see AT&T pops up the network ID, and you can, this is what Sense 3.0 and 3.5 looks like. I have my weather here, my highs, my lows, my current location. I have shortcuts where if I really wanted to access messaging right away, I could either drag it down there or pop that up. We get some different options to change the lock screen. You can go from wallpaper to, let's say, market information, stocks and such. You've got your clocks, you've got your photo stream, you've got some friend stream stuff so you can see your social networking updates. So they really give you a great opportunity here between wallpaper, skin, widgets, apps, and more to really personalize your device and make it your own. And it comes with access to HTC Hub, which we'll talk about in just a bit. Now over here, a little bit of a different layout. You've got widgets, shortcuts, folders, and wallpapers in traditional Android layout. But instead of it showing up in a bulky menu, you get it down here at the bottom, and then you get some HTC stuff as well, or some LG stuff as well, rather, in addition to the stock Android widgets. You get some messaging widgets, so we'll come in here and we'll pull the messaging widget out, and you get a couple of different options. You get messaging, a smaller one, a larger one. I can click on the larger one, it takes up the full screen. And of course, when I want to get rid of that, I can press and remove. So I don't know if you're seeing this on camera, but this is something I've noticed with the LG Spectrum. This is packing a pretty powerful dual-core 1.5 gigahertz processor, Snapdragon processor. This thing should be relatively fast, but I found that LG's custom user interface in my review time, used it for my personal device for a couple of days. I found that it wasn't quite optimized for Android 2.3 in its current form. Now, LG is in the process of rolling out a new user interface that's going to come to their ice cream sandwich devices, and if you go back to my Mobile World Congress footage, you can see the new user interface on devices like the Optimus 4X HD. And it seems to be a substantial improvement, but over here still kind of laggy, kind of slow. And another thing I've noticed is it's not very responsive. When I come up here, I want to press something, it worked that time. But you'll see, oftentimes throughout the video, I'll be scrolling and you see it'll have to stop fully before I can input that onto the home screen. So the gesture navigation just seems to be a little bit off on this device. But when you're done, you got the grid there, and when you're done, you can press home and get rid of that. And then over here, your widgets as well. You get HTC widgets and, of course, Android widgets, and they're separated this way. For example, calendar, HTC, calendar, Android. So if you want to do the HTC option, I've got a couple different calendar choices here. I can scroll through. Now, neither one of these devices offer customizable apps, at least right now. So you can't customize the size. You do get some options, at least, in the menus, for example, and you saw it over here with messaging as well. You do get some choices, but if I wanted to make this a little bit smaller, or perhaps I didn't have a full home screen available, you're kind of limited as to what you can do as opposed to TouchWiz 4, stock Android 4.0, or Motorola's custom user interface where you can change around some of the widget sizes. That's just a nice benefit and I'm really impressed with it. Now over here again, what I was telling you about HTC Hub, it comes with access to HTC Hub and HTC Like. So through that application, you can set up an account, you can download additional wallpapers, additional ringtones and more, and really make this device your own. So if you're big on personalization, it matters to you what your ringtone is, the way the phone looks, you want to set up your home screens, and I think a lot of us that use Android on a regular basis are. Personalization, this wins. Now over here, where this is a huge winner, is this IPS display, and you can't see it on camera as well as you should be able to, but 4.5-inch IPS display, it's true HD 720p. This is one of the most beautiful displays I've ever used on a wireless device, and you can really tell the difference when you're holding these devices side by side. So out of the box, typical AT&T stuff on the Vivid, typical Verizon stuff on the Spectrum. You're going to see stuff like code scanner, family map. Go down through here and do this quickly. Live TV, My AT&T, emoji music, visual voicemail, YP mobile as well. Now the benefit here is AT&T allows you to uninstall most of the carrier bloatware. Verizon hasn't gotten to that point yet. You get some stuff like Netflix, Score Center, Smart Movie HD, Blockbuster, Hot Pursuit, Let's Golf 2, My Verizon Mobile, NFL Mobile. So you get a lot of Verizon stuff, VCast Tones, VZ Navigator out of the box. And unfortunately, as of right now, Verizon doesn't allow any of that stuff to be uninstalled. So you're kind of stuck with it. It's stuck on the device even if you don't want that bloatware. Whereas over here, AT&T, and not all of it's uninstallable, but most of it is. If I remember right, YP Mobile is uninstallable. Family Map, I think, is uninstallable. So I can come in here to Applications and see. We'll go to All, and then we'll go to Family Map, for example, and I can uninstall Family Map. So if I don't want that, boom, I can get rid of it. And I can come back here, Code Scanner, don't need it. Boom, I can get rid of it. So AT&T and Sprint as well have both really listened to their customers and realized they don't really want, quite a few people don't really want these applications, so they've done a good job of allowing people to remove. Let's take a look at messaging now on both of these devices, and both have 4.5-inch displays, so it should be relatively easy for people that are migrating maybe from a BlackBerry or something with a smaller display, iPhone 4S, coming up from a device like the Droid 2, Droid 3, something like that, into this. You should have a relatively easy time transitioning over. So on this one you get two keyboards, but you get it in one package. You're going to notice the HTC keyboard here, and that is, it looks like it's all you get, and then we can go to messaging here, and this was a test I was sending to myself. Big apples apparently with one of my demo units. But over here, HTC Sense keyboard, and it's one of the best in the market as far as I'm concerned. The Quick Brown Fox is ready for the weekend. So it's been around for some time. It's tried and true. HTC's done a pretty good job with it, and the autocorrect is pretty decent. And of course, because this is a really elongated 4.5-inch display, again, 540 by 960 pixels, very easy to type on in landscape mode. So even if you do have problems in portrait, you can easily flip it over, and the transition effects are nice and fast, so there's no smooth transition effect switch over there, but still very nice. The other keyboard here is HTC's trace input, and you're going to see when you do that, kind of like a swipe pre-installed into HTC. So it's really two keyboards in one, so I can be rotating back and forth and say, how are you doing? And all of a sudden I can switch, well, that's not right, switch, so like that, to this keyboard. Swipe has never been my thing, I'm just not good at it. But you get the idea, you can do that, two keyboards in one. Over here, a little bit different. You get a couple of keyboard choices out of the box. You get swipe, as you can see here, and then you get LG's keyboard. Ice Cream Sandwich Keyboard Free is one I've downloaded from the Android market just because I like the way the Ice Cream Sandwich keyboard works, and it's the closest thing I've found to the original. But LG's keyboard and swipe pre-installed out of the box, and it's going to look very similar to the keyboard you see on iOS. Quick. Whoa, Brown Fox is ready for the weekend, which I'm not very good at, but you can see portrait to landscape transition still nice and fast, and again, because of an elongated display, it's going to be pretty easy to type on as well.